Hi everybody, it's Michelle, and in this video I'm going to show you guys how I have my bullet journal set up. Now I just filmed a video on my setup for my planner for 2015, which involved this faux Midori Traveler Notebook and my Hobonichi. So if you want to see that, you can look at my channel list, and it should be the last video that I made. Now this is a video solely about my bullet journal. It's going to be a little more in detail to show you guys how I actually use my bullet journal. So let's get started. Now I've been using the bullet journal in one form or another since about March, so about 8 or 9 months, and I love it. I just love the system. I love how I can customize it, make it into anything I want to. So even when I was using my Hobonichi as my planner over the past year, I still would use bullet journaling every day. So I don't have mine set up like a typical bullet journal in like one notebook. Instead, I have 3 separate notebooks all in here inside the Traveler's Notebook. And I did this because that way I can hold on to information and list and not have to switch it out or rewrite anything. So let's take a look inside. This Fauxdori I purchased on Etsy, and I do have others that I can use and switch it out, and it's a standard size. So the books I'm using are Moleskine Cahiers, the large size, and I've cut them down with my rotary cutter. I got new blades for my rotary cutter, and it just slices through them like butter. It's lovely. I cut them to 11 centimeters across to fit in here. So these 3 books are my bullet journal, and I'm going to show you how I have them separated out. Normally, I also have my journal in here, but I did take it out for this video because it's not really part of the bullet journal. And just quickly kind of glance through, this is kind of just my everyday art journal, things that make me happy, make me smile, and I keep it in here with the rest of my planner. That's that. So the first book I have in here is all about the business. Everything I need to keep track of, notes I need to keep for the business and my online stores. And all those notes on products, projects, patterns, stats, all that is in here. If you're curious about what I keep track of for the business, just pop a question below and I'll answer anything that I can. But it's mainly just reference stuff and blog post ideas, just to keep track of what my ideas are and whether or not I actually did them. Because I can come up with all these ideas and I list them out, and then I won't necessarily do them all because something else will pop into my head and I'll decide to go ahead and do that. And it wasn't even on my list. So in here I just have tucked in also an order booklet. This is a new one that I put in to start off 2015 because all of 2014 has been put away and archived. So that's this book. I just have some extra little notes back here. These Moleskines have the back pocket, which after you cut the books, it is open, and I just glued it back closed. Just some pattern notes, whatever, that I still need to transfer over into this book. So that's my first book. And I do have it labeled C. I don't have an index in here right now, but I will be doing one. It's going to be its own separate little book because all these pages are numbered in here. So anything in here, if I want to know this, it's C7. So no, it's book C. This one in the middle is my everyday bullet journal book, and I'm going to do this one last because this is where I work in every day, all the time. This last section here is where I have my list and collection information. This is long-term like reference material that I know I'm not going to need to switch out. Just lists like reading list, places where I've been, my map, which I haven't filled out yet. That type of stuff is going in here. Maybe journaling prompts that I want to keep, over time. All of that goes in here. And this one is labeled B. So everything in here is B1, 2, or 3. that will go into the index. This insert here is a zip pocket, and over here is a side loading pocket and card holder. Because I'm using this as my wallet right now too, so I have all my money and my store cards, my debit cards, ID, everything is in here, stamps, all this stuff. If I decide that I don't want to have it in here anymore, I'm going to move all this back into my pocket Filofax and carry that in my purse. But it's working out pretty well for right now, having everything together. Normally, I have on this elastic right here is where I have my journal. So I keep that tucked in right here. So now let's move on to the everyday book. Now my everyday book has all of my daily tasks and all that information. I have that tucked inside this little insert I made from personal size Filofax, or it's actually a day timer card holder where I just keep pictures, and on the other side I keep some business cards. And you see I just taped it together with washi tape, the wide washi tape, and just tucked it around here. It ended up working really great. This little clip here is just a cheap little clip I found at a package at the Dollar Tree, and I just use that to hold my pen right there in the book. And I just have this one labeled every day. This is my post-it note for my shopping list. And I just write out my list here. I don't have a new one, anything filled out yet, because I just went shopping yesterday. So I don't have a new list going yet. I just pop this off when I'm at the store, stick it here in the front, and have it in my purse where I can see it, and just mark off my list. The inside of this cover, I just have a card holder where I stuck in some stickers. This is another card holder cut lengthwise where I have my little stickers I use in my journal all the time. This one is not labeled, but it should be book D. So this is D, and whenever this fills up, the next one will be E, and then I can reference all that information in my index. And because this will be archived away. I left the first page blank, and then I just started out with my daily bullet journal. I pretty much only use the checkbox for task. I use exclamation marks for important information that I need to remember, and a money symbol for anything important about money. I use the dots for notes every day, the @ symbol for appointments or meetings or places where I need to be. And I just use however much space I need for each day. There's 3 days on here, 2 days here. Let me jump to the next one. This is this week, 3 days or 2 days here, and it just continues on like that. So I have to have a weekly view. So I just drew out a weekly view here where I jot down everything I'm doing every day just in time slots. So it gives me an idea of where I'm spending all of my time. This is not part of the standard bullet journal, but this is just something, a way that I've modified it to make it meet my needs. I also have this in my Hobonichi, but this is where I put my notes throughout the day, and then I could go back either at the end of the day or even a few days later and fill in my Hobonichi because it's all here. So those are my notes there on my weekly. And here I just stuck in some productivity notes that I had in my Filofax that I did not want to put away because I wanted to go back over them. Just on productivity and time management, that type of thing. And I left a blank page here to take some more notes on that. And generally this I would have put back here in my long-term information, but I want to go back through here and pick out the most important things and rewrite that back here in this book for me. Because all I put in here are things that are only relevant to that time period. Now, if I'm working on a project on the house and I need lists for that, like spring cleaning, well, that would go in here because Once it's over and done, then it's over and done. I don't need to reference it again. I put together a brain dump. I started that here. I'm not good with brain dump lists. I never go back and look at them. I don't know why. Then more dailies. Just every day, those 3 days here. You know, I do migrate over, either mark out if it's not effective or doesn't apply anymore. This is just a page I put together for Midori notes, just when I'm watching YouTube or reading a blog post. If there's something that I want to remember, I put here. In here, I decided I want to try to keep a different weekly view. This is just time slots. This actually tells me what I really did during the day. This is for me to look ahead and say, okay, on this day I have to do this day I have to do that. It's more of a future planning. So I know when I have appointments, that type of thing here. I always had this in my previous bullet journals so that I knew what was coming up for that day. I wanted to try to do it that way and maybe do like a weekly task list over here. But by Tuesday, I started Monday. By Tuesday, I knew that wasn't going to work because I like to keep notes every day. And it was difficult to do that if I was only going to have one page here for the week. And it just wasn't working. So by Wednesday, I went back to every day taking notes. And this, I'm not going to repeat this again. This runs through tomorrow on Sunday, January the 4th. And after that, I'm going to just put it here on this weekly sheet, which I still had this for this week, keeping track of all my time and what I'm doing. So instead of doing this, now when I do my weekly chart here, in this bottom section where I have room, I'll put that information here. So I know if, Friday, I really need to go shopping, I'll put shopping down there. If I know that, one of the kids has something going on in school, I'll write that there at the bottom so I know, and it corresponds to each day. I still have a notes section over here where I could keep some notes. And I'm going to try that for this coming week and see if that works. If it doesn't work, then I will go ahead and write in this weekly sheet like this again and just not try to keep a weekly task list. I'll just keep my daily task list. That's the great thing about the bullet journal. You can do whatever you want. You can set it up however you want. You can test something out. If it doesn't work, change it. Do it the way you want to do it. Do what works for you. So that's this week. And by tomorrow, I will be drawing in a new weekly chart for next week so that I have that ready to go. Now, one thing I did decide to do, because we started a new year, I decided to go ahead and try the traditional or the standard bullet journal technique of listing out the month 1 through 31 or however many days there are in the month, and just kind of jotting out important things for that day or anything, any appointments, that type of thing. I've never done this. I used to tape in or draw in a monthly calendar, and I just didn't feel like doing that. I didn't want to draw one in, so I decided I was just going to try this because I've never tried it before. So I have this drawn out here and then the task list, which I did do this before. I would have my month here and the task list here for the month. So this is my January spread. The only thing I did add to it was here on the side, I added in a habit tracker for the month. So for the whole month, I have these certain things that I want to track and mark out each day whether or not it got done. And that's, type of the DIY fish type tracking. And I did this a lot in my Hobonichi and all my other planners. And I really like having this because it's a very good visual for you to see what you're doing, what you should be doing, and what you're slacking on. So that's a January spread. And then we just go back into more daily pages with my task all listed out. I just have in my notes for the Documented Life project. I wrote that in the top here because the first prompt came out yesterday on January the 1st. This is kind of goes with that. I normally don't have this type of stuff here in my bullet journal, the everyday one. But I kind of did this. I'm doing my documented life in my Hobonichi, and I also kind of did that here in my journal because it had to do with book pages. So I cut out a bunch of book pages, and I used that for the background here on that one. And then I also taped in a book page here, and this was New Year's Day, just some notes that I kept on that. And some pictures of things that were going on that day, because it just makes me happy to look at it. This here is my granddaughter. She drew a picture of her whole family. She's 3. She listed out everybody, and that's her pictures of everybody. That was so adorable. I had to keep it and put it here in my book because it's just too cute. So this is today here, and the rest of this book is blank, just waiting to get filled up. In the middle, I have stuck in this paper, and it's just loose paper. I can put in more if I need to because it's not bound. And these are just my scribble notes. Instead of scribbling these notes here in this part of the book, which I'm hesitant to do because these are better quality, nicer books, and I'm always reluctant to just scribble notes in there. I don't know, it's just a psychological thing. So this is a really cheap paper. I bought a ream of 500 on Amazon of this graph paper. It's very thin, almost thinner than notebook paper. And I just jot down my notes. Just things if I'm talking on the phone, jot it down. Pen testing, emails I need to respond to, I just jot it real quick so I can know to go back and do that. Phone messages, there's a recipe for laundry soap, just all that kind of stuff, just jotted in here. Now, this may get moved to another part of the book if I need to kind of make more sense of it, rewrite it, and put it somewhere else. It may not, but I can still reference all of this. And I will probably give this booklet a different number. Like this book is book C, and I will name it something different so that I know that the notes are in here in this graph paper instead of in the book. Because I don't want to number these, because I may end up having to put extra in here, and then the numbering will be off if I have to add extra sheets. So that's that book. It does bulk up my books, but that's okay. In the back, I just have a few notes in here that I need to actually put into this book back here, that I took this out of my file facts and I need to rewrite it over here. So that is my everyday bullet journal with my business information and my listing collections. And that's how I'm using my bullet journal for the year. I really like this. I love the Moleskine notebooks, but I like knowing that I can leave all this information here, and I can just write as much as I want on these daily sheets and keep switching this book out and still have all this information back here when I need it and not have to rewrite everything. So that's how it's set up. If you guys have any questions about my bullet journal, just put it in the comments below and I will try to answer for you. You guys have a great day, and I will see you next time.